Hello everyone, it's Steph. Welcome to my channel if you are new. Welcome back to my channel if you aren't, where I post daily about spirituality, healing, and personal growth. Now I'm going to be making this video today for people who are either just beginning to or who desire to experience their spiritual awakening. Now, what is a spiritual awakening? So a spiritual awakening is essentially, when we raise our consciousness. And when we're talking about raising our consciousness, that essentially is raising our awareness pertaining to all things involving ourself and our existence. So raising our awareness about life itself, about creation itself, and basically about our oneness with the divine source and with all of creation. When I experienced my spiritual awakening, I was in high school. I would say it started early on in my life. When I was a kid, I always had questions and I always wondered about things. I kind of was very mature for my age as a kid, and I spent a lot of time outside just staring up into the sky and wondering, like, what was this place all about? I've always had special dreams and things like that. Even at a young age, dreams that were even more complex than I could understand. I don't know if it was dreams from past lives or whatever, but it was just dreams of situations that I hadn't yet experienced. So I always was very intuitive. I always had a lot of questions. I always spent a lot of time out in nature, and I always just felt a yearning unto something great. I went through life. I didn't have I had a challenge in life, a challenge in childhood, and I experienced a lot of things young, as far as trauma and brokenness and things like that. And I experienced, what it's like to grow up in a family, that had suffered emotional issues from being a broken home and things like that, just to be very vulnerable. So I did have a lot of questions, and I always had a deep desire for love and healing and things like that. So growing up, I always, was more inclined towards arts and learning the deeper meanings of things and researching and learning, and just, and seeing happy endings. I was always very joyful to experience happy endings, and I love happy endings in movies like that. So as I grew up and I got in high school, I went through some experiences where I realized I didn't know myself, and though I had been gradually experiencing my spiritual awakening all my life, in high school is when I realized that the friends that I was hanging around with wasn't necessarily the energetic influence that I needed, and I got into a little bit of trouble as a teen, and it really brought into my awareness that I was broken and I needed healing, and that I was ready to connect with something very deep and meaningful. I was ready to connect with my Creator and my reason for being here. And that's when I became very diligent in studying spirituality and very diligent in looking for the answers for life. Like, why are we here? What is my purpose? Wanting to know how we function and learning the difference between the physical and the spiritual, and just the physical realm and the spiritual realm. And I would say, as I began to seek these things out diligently, I naturally found myself distancing myself from people and influences, even mindsets and habits that did not necessarily resonate with my new spiritual journey. And that's one thing that will happen as you go through a spiritual awakening. You may find yourself becoming a little bit isolated because the environments and the things that you were once accustomed to and comfortable with, they will no longer suit you. You will find yourself growing out of those environments and growing away from those people, just because of the new substance that you're pursuing and a new substance that you're becoming filled with. Everybody's not going to resonate with it, and you'll find that as you try to share these things with people, people that you were once close to will begin to even alienate themselves from you, or alienate the things that interest themselves from the things that interest you. They won't be interested. And that's when you begin to find out that, that just because people, I say this in my videos a lot, it's one of my favorite analogies, you'll find out that just because people were on your first plane does not mean that they're meant to go to your final destination. You'll find out that there will be many people you will inspire, and as you spiritually awake, you'll find out that many people who are seeking that same substance will come to you for advice or encouragement, because they see that whatever you're finding is a substance that they need. So this is a couple of different things you will experience as you go through your spiritual awakening. So you not only will you find yourself growing out of your environments that you were accustomed to and growing away from certain people, you just find yourself really purging out all of the toxic things and energies and mindsets and habits that have once held you bound to things that were not good for your well-being. You'll find yourself challenging all of the things that you once thought was your identity. So the fears that you had, the anger that you had, the emotional voice that you had, you will begin to recognize these things as not yourself, but as things that you need to heal. And that's a part of your awareness increasing. Now that you're becoming more aware, you begin to be able to separate and differentiate yourself from things that are not you, and differentiate yourself from things that are not wholesome for your journey. And you will become more empowered to be able to change and transform. And the journey of transformation itself will become your main mechanism. It will become what you live for. It will become what drives you as your awareness increases. And also as your awareness increases, you'll find yourself developing a deeper intimacy with yourself. You'll be getting to know yourself better, and you'll be getting to know the divine energy within you, and you'll begin to develop a better connection with nature. You'll be out in nature more. You'll be able to see the life inside of nature more. You'll be able to just notice the beauty and the divinity of everything around you, and that will be you connecting more with your God energy, connecting more, and growing into a deeper consciousness of God to be able to see God in everything. And also, as you experience your spiritual awakening, you will see the world different. Before you have a spiritual awakening, you tend to believe everything that you see in the news and the media. You tend to honor it as truth. You tend to honor it as the credible source for everything that you see in the media or on a phone or whatever publication. That's what you hold as the most credible source for all your answers. Once you have a spiritual awakening, you will begin to see the world for what it really is. You'll begin to notice everything that's wrong in the world. You'll begin to perceive all of the corruption in the world. You'll see all of the darkness in the world. Like, as you become more of the light that you are, it will begin to shine out into the world, and everything that was once hidden will become revealed and exposed. And then you'll see stuff for what it really is. You'll see the entertainment industries for what they really are. You'll see the governments for what they really are. You'll see all of the powers and control of our food, medicine, and water for what they really are. And it's a lot of corruption. And once you begin to see more of the truth of the world, you'll start to live more in tune with your well-being. You'll start to change the way that you eat, the way that you think. You'll start to change the information and media that you expose yourself to. You will begin to expose yourself to more things that help you grow, that nurture your spirit, that help you heal, that give you wisdom and knowledge to connect deeper with your divinity and with the divine source. And you'll really develop a stronger sense of justice. And you'll connect more deeply with integrity, morality, and righteousness, whatever you want to call it. And it'll just make you, having a spiritual awakening, it makes you a better person because it fills you with more love, and you'll grow more into a person who gives out love and takes the higher road. You'll develop more peace and happiness, and you'll just develop a very broad perspective. When you have a spiritual awakening, you take on this identity of being a person who's constantly growing, and you're constantly setting yourself free, and you're constantly raising your awareness. You're constantly healing, and you'll begin to invigorate this energy and shine forth this energy to everybody who knows you. Some people will love you for it because you empower them. Some people will dislike you for it because you're so free and courageous to step out into the unknown. and you're not bound by the prisons that they are bound by. Some people want to see you miserable just like they are. And that's just a fact. Some people will alienate themselves from you because they're too afraid to acknowledge the truth of the world. They're too afraid to find out the truth of the world because they love the lies that they live in. Because they're still full of fear, they love the illusions that they live in. And this is what you'll run into. And also, like, when you have a spiritual awakening, you begin to send out a different frequency to the world and to the earth, and you begin to attract things to your life that are more in alignment with your divine purpose. You'll begin to see your purpose more clearly, with more clarity, and you'll be able to help other people connect with their divine purpose because of the God energy that has awakened into you. You'll begin to connect more with your eternal and divine substance, and enriching your inner person and coming alive and being the true, vibrant light and love being that you are. So I just want to encourage you that if you are going through that transition of approaching or seeking out your spiritual awakening, keep going. There are going to be things around you that could possibly discourage you, but keep going, because more than anything, you have come to this earth to have that spiritual awakening and to become your divine and most powerful self. Thank you guys for watching this video. Of course, I post daily. I have to say that at the beginning of each video. Please stay tuned, subscribe, like this video, and join my community and get inspired and encouraged every day. Please leave comments so I can communicate back and forth with you. I would love to connect with like-minded individuals. Thank you. Peace.